Holy crap.
People persist in doubting the evidence.
Don't run and hide. Don't be afraid. Don't turn away any longer. The truth will set you free.
You're listening to Jimmy Church Fade to Black on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
We're turning all of our antennas towards Jimmy Church on Dark Matter Radio.
And now, your host, the captain of conspiracy, the prince of paranormal. This ain't your daddy's radio network show. This is Jimmy Church Fade to Black.
Oh, man. I guess Eugene called my bluff. I said, no, Eugene, no show. This is Fade to Black. How you doing, everybody? All right. Yeah. Wow. In the middle of the marathon week. How you doing? This is Fade to Black. Listening to Space Boy, man. He just sucks me in every time. Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Wednesday, August 6th. We are 218 days into the new year. Live from the JP Motorsports Studios right here in Burbank, California for KJCR in the Dark Matter Radio Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Welcome. Welcome, everybody. Hello, Fadernauts. The marathon week continues tonight. Norio Hayakawa. Norio in the house, our good friend. It's been almost a year since he's been on the show. Looking forward to it. Troublemaker, good guy, and a true OG. I have I put OG in all of the publicity putting this out. Everybody here, I said, okay, when we talk about Norio, you put OG in front of his name. So that's the way everything's gone out. And I'm waiting for Norio to go, dude, what Jimmy, what is OG? I just wanted to ask. Because he is an original gangsta. All right. Big salute to the proud men and women in uniform, fighting the good fight for us all around the world. Protecting our right for freedom of speech. And the right for me to speak into this microphone right now. A very humbling experience. All right. No Eugene, no show. I told him. I mean, I'll have Keith do the rerun of show number 1. I'll torture everybody. We'll go way back. Torture Keith, too. All right. Today's a historic day as far as birthdays go. Check this one out. Are you ready? Guitarist Vinny Vincent is 62 years old. There you go. The guy left Kiss to start his own band, the Vinny Vincent Invasion. I remember that album party here in L.A. I think he had a tank. He was riding a tank through Studio City. If I remember correctly, we went on and did a photo shoot with that back in the day. Man, I was like 20 years old. Anyway, left Kiss, but then he formed Slaughter out of Las Vegas. Mark Slaughter, the guy with the pipes of doom. But this is the thing for Vinny Vincent. He was also, before Kiss, the staff composer for the show Happy Days. Now, I just got to say, how can you be a hardcore, heavy metal, makeup-wearing, blood-spitting lead guitarist for Kiss and be a composer for Happy Days? That doesn't go together. Something ain't right, Vinny. It just ain't right. It's just like when you uncover somebody, some OG drug-slinging gangsta in some city across, just some crazy hardcore guy, and you find his high school yearbook where he was the the editor of the yearbook. he, he was president of the student body, and then went hardcore OG. No, it doesn't work that way, Vinny. But do love you. Yeah, there's a couple of good albums there with Kiss. And all that Slaughter stuff was great. All right, moving on. Follow us on Twitter right now. It's funny. I'm intentionally doing something. It's subconscious. It's really subconscious. And please, I don't want to apologize for this, but it's just subconscious. The things that I do on the show are all, they're about me. When I talk about music and Vinny Vincent or whatever, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, Eddie Van Halen, whatever, music, the things that I enjoy in life, I just picture, I picture George Norrie saying Vinny Vincent. How's that for you? Does that just pollute your mind? And no disrespect, George. Yeah, I think you understand the thought and can appreciate it. But it's just what a difference between us and them. And this show was so cool. It's cool. All right. Tonight, OG Norio Hayakawa. Cannot wait. And it's been a long time since he's been on with us, and he's just somebody that I really enjoy just talking to. Great guy. Been there. I think I said on the show last night or maybe the night before, if I could live half the life that Norio's done, you be a happy man. And so Norio will be with us at the bottom of the hour. And last night, that was a pretty crazy show. With Tobias Churton. And it seems we get a volume of email each night after the show and the day following the show and stuff on Twitter and whatnot, Facebook. And Tobias, woo, man. But this is the thing. We always get the one or two emails that come in and go, dude was, full of it. And I ain't buying what he's selling. And that's that. Okay, we get that every single day. You should. It's just the law of averages. So, but with Tobias, the amount of email that came in about the show last night, and also the delivery of the show too, because I was challenged. I'm looking at Backbeat right now. Dude was full of it. I was challenged at every single turn. And the more that it went on, the more fun that I had, but also the more that I just, learned. That's it. It's just learning the other side of the fence. And it was just an amazing show for me. It was really, really cool. And I look forward to the day, and I think we're going to do it sooner than later. We're going to get Tobias back on. And we've got a couple of other things that I would like to talk to him about. That won't be Crowley. It won't be Crowley. Be some other stuff. He's got some really, really good research that he does. Anyway, check this out. Bunch of email came in. Let me scroll down here. Bunch of email. The first one. This is from A.H. He says, I'm assuming it's a he. It's A.H. is how the email was signed. Appreciate the show on Crowley. So interesting. I remember back in the late 90s, the Bodie Tree bookstore had some Crowley books under lock and key. I wasn't attracted then to finding out who he was, but I see that I can appreciate and understand something of his character and life more now. Listening in tonight was a wonderful discovery for me. Another email from Adam. Oh, this is from Adam Go Rightly. Adam, is this right? Is this right? Adam Go Rightly? All right. Adam says, I don't know if my perspective changed with your Crowley interview, but I've never really thought into much of the anti-Crowley propaganda. He goes on to say, check out this video by Robert Anton Wilson on Crowley when you have a chance. I think Wilson had a good perspective on Crowley. And his writing about Crowley in these terms went way back to 1971. And he has sent a link. So I will speak into the other room right now as they are listening. Can you post Mr. Go Rightly's link? Oh, there it is. Just popped up. Okay, so there's the link to the video. And I'm actually going to watch this after the program tonight. Okay, I had something else. Oh, email from Jack in Texas. This is self-serving, but I thought it was cool, and he wrote it. So this is what he says. He says, 100 plus shows and counting. And what's the best show? The next one. From Jack in Texas. Thank you, Jack. And it's a crazy thing. It's to pack that many shows in and do what we have done here. The team is incredible. I cannot believe we are here. I can't believe the YouTube numbers. I can't believe the Facebook numbers. I can't believe the Twitter numbers. I can't believe my friends, the Fadernauts, and everybody out there. It is certainly a milestone to get to this number. And I just got to say, I cannot believe the whirlwind of the past year. And we have got so many things that are going to be busting off over the next couple of weeks. I cannot wait. I'm not in a position to comment on anything yet. I can't, but it's really cool. And check this out. And I was thinking, 100 shows and counting, and 20 with a squeaky chair. Can't get rid of it. Hear that? Keep the guest requests coming. I've got to tell you everything that we have done, including bringing Norio back tonight, comes from you. And Norio, he can come on the show every night as far as I'm concerned. We have a few friends of the show that are they can call in every single night. Doesn't matter. Make my life really easy. But they all come from you. And I don't know what was going on. I mean, I follow Norio, just so everybody knows. I follow Norio on Facebook. We chase each other down, it seems like every day. And he posts some, this last 6 weeks or so, the posts coming out of Norio's camp were just getting crazy. And I read a couple of them on the air here, and I know you remember it. The first one was a couple of months ago. Just crazy stuff. And not in a ufology sense, in a philosophical, moral sense. And just crazy. And I read them on the air. I'm like, man, what is going on with Norio? And so tonight we're going to talk about all of that. But he's been sticking that stick into the hornet's nest as much as he can. And I respect that. I respect that a lot. And tonight I want to know. And so we will be doing all of that. But keep the guest requests coming. So I wanted to get Norio on the show. It's called synchronicity. That's exactly what it is. Synchronicity. I felt the vibe. And then suddenly, boom, boom, boom. Email, Facebook, private message, Facebook, Twitter. Boom, Norio. So that's the deal. And I said last week, I mean, look, Franklin Rule, Barry Taft, Linda Moulton Howe, Von Daniken. I can go on. But those are requests. I can bring on everybody that I want to bring on every night. You know, that's cool if that's what you want, but I don't think so. This is bespoke radio for the masses. It's all about you, not about me. Always remember that. Tonight, Norio Hayakawa. Tomorrow night, it's your night. It is Open Lines Thursday, and then we pack up and we head out to Contact in the Desert. Man, I'm fired up. So fired up. Space Boy's going to roll into L.A. tomorrow. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Bespoke Radio for the masses only on the Dark Matter Radio Network. Shoot me an email right now to jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. J.D. Redden says, Tom Bearden. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'll be back right after this.
You're listening to Jimmy Church Fade to Black on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I got to tell you, it was a relief. National tax experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
On the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Just goofing off. Just took a selfie of myself and the Lynn Lewis Elvis mug. Sent that over to Wolanda. See if we get that posted on Twitter. Pretty funny. I didn't even look at it. So whatever it is, it is. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We are only on the Dark Matter Radio Network. Follow us on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. You want to hashtag DMRadioNet. Hashtag DMRadioNet. Go hang out in the sandbox. Go hang out. It's kind. It's gentle. It's fun. It really is. And I'm serious. Go check out the action that happens on Twitter at Dark Matter. It's a bonanza. It's a festival. Okie dokie. What are we going to do now? Okay. Check this out. I think we've got this posted up. Let me get over to JimmyChurchRadio.com. The Rosetta probe has taken a picture of the face on the comet. The face on the comet. If you haven't seen it yet, I got a bunch of email right before the show, banged down. I was like, okay, really? So I've seen it, and I tried to get it posted right before the show. Let's see if it is here yet. I'm scrolling. I don't see it. There it is. Church Rant. There it is. The face on the comet. So go over to JimmyChurchRadio.com. And it's right there at the top. I scrolled past it. My bad. It is there. Face on the comet. NBC News posted today. Rosetta probe spots the face on the comet. And that's in quotes. Rosetta captured the photo. I'm reading directly, actually, from NBC News. Rosetta captured the photo of Comet 67P, blah, 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 on Sunday en route to its historic arrival at the comet. The image shows the 2.5-mile wide, 4-kilometer comet in its entirety, with the face illusion visible on the right side of the comet. And it is highlighted in this image that we have posted at Jimmy Church Radio. Officials with the German Aerospace Center's youth portal spotted the optical illusion and pointed it out on Twitter, with several tongue-in-cheek posts posted on Wednesday. The Aerospace Center, known by the German acronym DLR, is one of the ESA participating in, European Space Administration in the Rosetta comet chasing mission. Now, so I ask you to cast your gaze to the said image and light up Twitter. Light it up. Where's Stuart Robbins when you need him? Stuart, if you're listening. Oh, by the way, Stuart, I was getting my Stuart fix last night over at his excellent podcast site, Pseudo Astronomy. And getting my Stuart fix on, I had to get caught up on a few things. And I just got to say, Stu, man, you've got the best stuff on the web. You and well, the best stuff of that kind of stuff. It is just an amazing program. And also, you know what I do every night? You know what my guilty pleasure is? You know what my really guilty pleasure is? I do this for 15 minutes each and every single night. I go read Jason Colavito. That's what I do every single night. My guilt. It's like plowing down a pint of Haagen-Dazs coffee all at once. It's that kind of guilty pleasure. Jason and Stuart, those two, I wouldn't call either of them skeptics. I would call them truth seekers in their own right, because they're both really, really, really good. And Jason, as of late, has really gone off the rails. Stuart has to in his own way too, man. These guys are angry, and there's enough fodder out there for both of these guys to just stay occupied for the rest of their lives. And so that's it. Anyway, so where is Stuart when we need him when this picture gets posted? I'm sure his next podcast will be based on this. Now, is that a face? How do you say it? What is it? Pareidolia? I don't even know how to say it. Such a weird word. I don't even know if it's a real word. Is it in the Oxford Dictionary? I think Stuart created the word for himself, but nonetheless, there it is. I will say this. When you look at this image, the humans have evolved to do exactly two things. Everything else just falls into place. But there's two things that we have evolved to do. You ready? One, to spot a human face in any environment in front of you. Walking through the woods, through the forest, you can spot a face. Walk across the desert, somebody off in the distance, you can spot a face. In the dark, in the light. It's what we do. We find each other. It's it. It's in our DNA. That's what we do. And the other thing is we hear the human voice. That's what we do. We can pick out a human voice out of the noisiest situations. Why? Baby crying. A mom can hear a baby crying from the other side of the earth. You ever wonder why you program the equalizer in your car? Remember the old days when you had that equalizer with 20? The more faders, the better. The more sliders, the better. More faders. And it always sounded best when you had that smiley face. You know, the bottom end is boosted up, and then it would dip in the mid-range and then come up, and all the high end would be boosted. You know why that is? Because mid-range, right there, 1K, is the human voice. And that's what our ear hears first. It's the first frequency that gets to us. It's the one that we are attuned to hear. That's it. So it sounds really loud to us in music. So you EQ it out so things sound a little more natural. Makes sense? Absolutely it does. And it's the same thing with this rock, this comet. We're looking for faces. That's what we do. And I got to say, it does look like a face. Kind of looks like Abe Lincoln. And that's what nobody has mentioned yet. Okay, next. I did get an email, an interesting one, from Lou about Westall, Australia, the school, the elementary school. And let me do a couple of things. Okay, got it. The Westall UFO incident, and if you do remember about it, it occurred, I want to say, in the mid-'60s, 65, 66. I don't remember the exact date, but it was in Melbourne. I remember that. And the entire school seemed, you know what? I'll get back to that, what the actual incident was. But very documented and crazy. And there's a couple of really good YouTube videos on it if you want to seek it out. It's Westall, Westall in Melbourne. But so I get this headline today from Lou. The Westall UFO incident was actually, check this out, a government radiation testing experiment. And I'm like, no way. Really? So I go to the the Herald Sun out of Australia, out of Melbourne, and here it is. An almost 50-year-old mystery where more than 200 people, those were students, believe they had a close encounter with the UFO landing in Clayton may have finally been solved after newly unearthed government documents revealed a secret radiation testing program. Huh? What? Although federal and state government agencies refused to comment about the 1966 Westall incident at the time, it is now believed that rather than a UFO, what landed was an errant high-altitude balloon used to monitor radiation levels after the controversial Maralinga nuclear test. The Highball program, that is HIBAL, was a joint U.S.-Australian initiative to monitor atmospheric radiation levels using large silver balloons equipped with sensors between 1960 and 1969. I'm stunned. And I'm stunned on every level. The UFO incident in Westall, and if you go and watch a couple, read the research, watch a couple of, there's one specific YouTube video documentary that is astounding where they go back and they talk to the students who are now 40 years old. This was an elementary school, and everybody saw what happened. Now, I'm not going the balloon route. Could it have been government? Could have been it could have been anything. But what definitely happened, as witnessed by every administration person at the school and teachers and all of the students, they went outside. They went out and looked at it. And then when it took off and then landed in this field, I mean, they ran through the wood. They watched this thing land and take off a couple of times. Then it went to downtown Clayton and landed in a street where some public workers, street guys, if my memory serves, had to stop their trucks, and witnesses got out of their cars while this thing landed in the street and then took off again. I'm not saying it was UFO. What I'm saying, what it wasn't, was some errant balloon. I mean, kids, 5-year-old kids know what a balloon falling to Earth looks like. It's what they play with. They know what a balloon looks like. They draw them every day. Balloon. I couldn't believe my eyes. I just can't. Unbelievable. What they should have done, I need my drum roll backbeat. What they should have done, bum. Swamp gas. Let's go there. The Westall encounter. This is the thing. The Westall encounter, where you had 200 innocent kids all give testimony. I'm going off memory. I studied this case for a while. News came in, television, newspapers, reporters all came in. Everything's missing now. Everything's missing. No official, everything, all the video, everything that was shot, everything that had to do with that incident that day in the media, the local media, gone. That's what's trippy. And then they want to come out with this today. I ain't buying it. I'm just not. When I come back, Norio Hayakawa, OG OG Norio Hayakawa. Tomorrow, open lines Thursday. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. I'll be back right after this with Norio Hayakawa. Stay with us, everybody.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Dark matter.
Dark Matter. Dark Matter. Dark Matter. Dark Matter.
You're listening to Fade to Black
On the Dark Matter Radio Network.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Right now, this is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Right now, there's probably 50, maybe 100 guitar players that are listening to this track right now going, man, you know, oh, I wish I could play like that. That's pretty good stuff. That's Doug Aldrich. This is Fade to Black only on the Dark Matter Radio Network. Shoot us an email right now to jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com if you've got anything for Norio. Shoot me an email. You can also tweet in at JChurchRadio, hashtag DMRadioNet. I've got TweetDeck open to my left like I do every single evening. And here we go. Norio Hayakawa, OG Norio Hayakawa, calls himself an unorthodox ufologist and activist. He has spent almost 10 years specifically investigating Area 51 in Nevada. He says that there was much more to Area 51 than just superficial facts that made public about this well-known base. In 1990, he also began to investigate the strange going-ons at Dulce, New Mexico. After more than 45 years of researching the UFO phenomenon, longer than I've been alive, 45 years, no, not quite, he says that a conditioning of belief systems have been orchestrated since 1947 by a manipulative force that is preparing mankind for a near-future mysterious scenario. The ingrained and altered realities behind both Area 51 and Dulce will play a role in that scenario. In March of 2009, he organized the first ever underground base conference in Dulce. Recently, Norio has been posting and getting various reactions from UFO researchers that have been causing quite a stir around the internet. And tonight we will discuss what is behind those posts and his recent discovery and video of a missing atomic bomb that was dropped and buried in New Mexico in 1957. I'd like to humbly welcome back to the program our good friend, OG Norio Hayakawa. Norio, how are you, sir?
How are you, Jimmy? Thank you so much for bringing me on again on your excellent program.
Oh, you know what? It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. Hold on for a second. Just adjusting a couple of things there. There we go. Norio, I just have to say, I read. It's a nervous laugh too. I read one of your posts a couple of months ago that you had put up on Facebook on the show, on the program. And I think I told you that at the time that I had to read it, right? And what you had said, you don't mind jumping straight into this with both feet, do you?
No,
okay.
not at all.
Okay, great. You had said that you were being used. You finally have determined that you were being used by the government as a disinfo agent. And I read that and I posted it. And you know what I did, Norio? I immediately called McCarran. I called Steve Murillo. I called a few people. Have you seen this post by Norio, man? Have you seen this post? And so just tell what was behind that first post?
Well, actually, that was done in with tongue in cheek on the whole subject of ufology, and so I mentioned every single popular concepts about ufology, and I try to put everything into that kind of a tongue-in-cheek statement. So, because I really believe that ufology is becoming a very important part of America's culture, and the role of this culture may become very important in the future. I'm not saying that some secretive group is trying to manipulate the belief systems of the people for some kind of an evil scheme, like you mentioned before. Of course, some people take that literally, but what I'm more interested in is that it's becoming a very important part of the culture, and who knows, anybody can manipulate parts of culture for any agenda, and that's my main point. But I'm sure I caused a lot of commotion in that, because I never stated that this is a fact, but I just wanted to present how important it is to consider ufology as a culture, and it's a growing part of a culture, and there's definitely an ever-widening gap between the so-called believers and skeptics and everybody in between. And that this wide chasm is getting deeper and deeper, and the Internet is playing a vital role in this entire situation. And this is the reason why, Jimmy, that we are right here in New Mexico are organizing our first ever in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, a New Mexico UFO conference this October that will talk about some of the aspects of this UFO culture.
I noticed that you were going to have Travis on. He will be appearing there, and so I called him right before the show. I was going to have him call in and do a surprise hello to you, but unfortunately he's traveling to Contact in the Desert, which is going on this weekend. Anyway, let's back up a step. This is the thing, when you posted the first post, and we'll get to some of your other Norio, you're crazy, man, and I love you. We're going to get to some of the other stuff too, but that original post, this is the thing, you saw the reaction from everybody out there, and I know that you were probably grinning as you were watching everybody's reaction come in, because that was exactly I'm sure that was your intention, just to see how people were reacting, including myself. And we all thought the same thing. They got to Norio. They got to him. They finally, they got to Norio. And it was a crazy thing to see people react that way. Why? Well, it's very important to understand that we're all paranoid of that exact thing happening. Somebody that we know and trust, and then just turns out to be the disinfo guy. And you got just that, didn't you?
I think it was, to me it was an experiment, to find out the validity of this type of reaction from the so-called UFO community and, the community at large. And this is very important. And as I told you many, many times before, the topic of UFOs, I believe personally, is one of the most important topics in humankind.
Period.
I'm really
Yes.
saying this from the bottom of my heart, and I've been involved in this research since 1961. And I've met hundreds and hundreds of people, interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, visited lots of locations of interest, and I wrote hundreds and hundreds of articles all over these years. But the biggest thing is that even after more than 50 years, at this point in time, I still am puzzled about this phenomenon, and I'm the first one to admit that I am just as ignorant about the true nature of this strange phenomenon as anyone.
Now, I had said before the show, and before we get the ball rolling here, I had said before the show, and all of our publicity and reaching out for the broadcast and I bringing you on, I told everybody to put OG in front of your name. OG.
I have no idea what that means. I've never heard of it.
You are truly OG to all of us. OG is original gangsta. You are
Yes,
very OG. And it is, trust me, it is about as an endearing of a term as you can give to anybody. And
yeah, well, thank you so much, Jimmy. I appreciate it because I'm an activist, and I like to call myself a troublemaker or a rabble rouser. Because I like rabble rousing because, especially in this field, which is very important, there needs to be some activist that goes all the way. And that's why I'm the first one to have organized a public gathering or demonstration in 1998 at the borderline spot of Area 51 on Groom Lake Road, and 250 people showed up for that first time ever People's Rally at Area 51, which received a lot of media attention, especially in Las Vegas. But because of the activism such as this, I think we have come a long ways, and things have gone for the better, especially when it comes to Area 51. Especially, we're talking about the workers that have not been compensated from contacting toxic chemicals at Area 51. And this issue has eventually brought out the actual compensation a few years ago from the Department of Energy to those who have been affected by working at Area 51. So I'm a strong believer in doing something about it, not just talking about it, doing something. And this is the reason why, Jimmy, that in 2009, I got tired of people just writing books about Dulce, New Mexico, or, just making, movies and so on. But actually, I wanted to go into that area, into the reservation, and actually having a public meeting, which was actually, in fact, that was really not a conference. It was I meant to be a public meeting, and, there was no, I didn't spend any money for that Dulce conference in 2009. I did it all by myself through the internet as well as word of mouth.
Yeah, and what was
I reserved the hotel by myself. I asked people to come to speak, and I contacted the Hickory Apache, cultural office, who finally gave me an okay to have that conference. And that was the first time ever that an outsider came and held such a very strange conference. Exactly. It sounds strange, but I was tired of the rumors, and I wanted to find out once and for all, is there or is there not a base near or in Dulce or near Dulce. And that's why the conference was held, and it was a successful conference in that more than 140 people showed up, including many locals, as well as visitors from Canada and California and other places. And, at least it brought the attention of the people to that area, and it was the beginning of a gradual thawing of the nervousness of the local people in Dulce. And now the result is here. Even though we have not come to a definite proof whether the base is there or not, the positive thing about that conference is that it tremendously loosened up the people over there, and now there are a lot of Dulce residents who are not afraid to come out and speak about their sighting reports and all kinds of interesting, reports. So I think this is one of the reasons for the success, and this is my motto, to go to the bottom of it. And this is the reason why, Jimmy, that I support groups like the Federation of American Scientists, which is the nation's largest watchdog group composed of scientists. And the theme is that we the citizens, must have some kind of oversight on anything that's hidden, In other words, accountability. If there's any accountability issue that the government is, at odds with the public, I think we should have the need for a watchdog agency. And that's why we support the Federation of American Scientists, FAS, and a small group called the Civilian Intelligence Network is basically a small, version of that. And I organized this group in 1990, and so this is where I am right now.
Well, this is the thing for me. How did you look at it in such a way back then, the need to get people together to speak about this? Because, certainly before the internet, you didn't have that. You had to have you had to put together your own network. Obviously, things were done by mail and by telephone. That was about as fast as things happened. But you felt the need to put these conferences and gatherings together, not only at Area 51, but your own network of other ufologists out there. Because today, and the question is this, today you have plenty of shows on network television and on cable and satellite. You have shows like this and the internet and accessibility to get the word out. But back then you didn't have any of that. And you were at the center of a lot of this, most of it actually. And so why the need? You weren't getting it. And do you understand the question? You weren't getting it from the outside. You had to do it yourself.
That's correct, Jimmy. In fact, there were many, countless number of times I had traveled to the perimeters of Area 51 in the early 1990s, and personally got involved with the on-site investigations, and had lots of encounters with the security forces. And of course, I wasn't the only one. There were other people like Gary Schultz and a good friend of mine, Wolf McCarran,
right,
who was also brave enough to encounter directly the with the security forces over there, and so not only myself, but there were other pioneers in this activism, and our intention was to tell the public that there is this location and that there should be accountability.
Well, Wolf was on the show last week, and I've known Wolf since we were kids, as you know, and well, so have you. And back then, you were still the OG. Wolf was a little kid. I was a little kid, but Wolf has posted. He went and he has digitized all of his original Area 51 footage from the early '90s, and he's slowly putting it online. And my comment to Wolf, and this is the same comment, I'm going to make it directly to you right now, which is back then, that was pre 9/11, and going out there and jousting with the security forces at Area 51 was a pretty crazy thing to do, and to roll video cameras at the same time and doing it. If you do that today, you'd positively get shot. It was a different world back then, wasn't it?
That's right, and many of us carried scanners in the early 1990s. Went to the Groom Lake Road, the many other dirt roads around the perimeters, and we used to record the conversations between the security forces at Area 51, at which time we thought it was Wackenhut security people, but we think it's a combination of everything. It's the security forces are comprised of private and semi-private groups like security force at the EG&G, and it's a combination of everything. And but anyway, in the early 1990s, we were just chasing each other on that dirt road, playing catch catch with those people, and while listening to the conversations and their reports of our activities, we could clearly hear from the radio. And so one time I heard a lady's voice, and she said security control. It was clearly a lady, and so it was very interesting, that there's a security control over there, probably associated with the bald mountain tower over there. But, those were the good old days of 1990s. And but we had a lot of interesting experience. But ultimately, my main concern was the truth about the location, to force the government to admit that there is a facility. And, because of our activism, I believe that the government finally admitted that it was an operating base at Groom Lake in late 1990s and late 1990s or early 2000s. But anyway, but even then, they did not admit that Area 51 existed. They only admitted that there's an operating base near Groom Lake, and they were trying to be very, very unclear. In other words, it's on Groom Lake, not near Groom Lake, but yet the official government designation was an operating base near Groom Lake, and this was such a ridiculous thing. But because of the constant activism and constant bringing up this kind of a thing, the government finally admitted by name that there is an Area 51, and this was just about a couple of years ago. They finally admitted that Area 51 exists.
How has ufology changed for you as you look around? Because you went through, intense research in the 60s and the 70s, and the 80s and the 90s, and here we are. We're approaching 2015. I can't believe it. But how has it changed for you? What do you think is different today than back then?
Nothing much is different today when it comes to ufology, because while we admit that the government definitely has been developing some amazing things, such as at Area 51 and other locations, we still have this tremendous puzzle, and that is the UFO phenomenon. It's being reported by military pilots and who knows? Yeah, I mean there are tens of thousands of people who report, and these are people with special trained people, and so the puzzle remains. The phenomenon is still a puzzle, and this is one thing that I cannot deny. I am not a skeptic about this phenomenon. I am a believer that there is this phenomenon that remains unsolved. And this is why I highly respect researchers such as Dr. Jacques Vallée, who have proposed that this phenomenon should be looked with all aspects, from all aspects, scientifically and culturally as well, and everything, because it's still unresolved. And he also stated that we must not immediately come to any conclusion about this phenomenon, whether they are from, physical extraterrestrial spacecraft from outer space or not, or from another dimension, or, something else.
Right.
So I highly respect his conclusion, and so that's where I stand.
Do you know why Jacques knows what he knows? I'll tell you right now. Do you know why he knows what he knows? He's an alien.
Yeah, tell me.
Jacques is an alien. He's an alien, man. I was Norio. Check. I was watching this. I was watching these interviews from the '80s with him, and last week, and the camera's close up on him, and I'm watching him talk, and I'm looking at his eyes and his lip, and I'm like, Jacques an alien, man. That dude is an alien. Oh, man.
Yes, I like the way he talks.
Yeah, he's
intelligent.
He's got a delivery.
So I regard him as one of the highest, person as far as knowledge of this phenomenon is concerned. But yet I continue with my own speculation on things, and it's because of our continual search into the truth that occasionally we come across some astounding things and that the public have no idea about. And one is, first of all, that very few people know about the government's explosion of atomic device near Dulce, New Mexico in 1967.
Was it 67 or 57?
That was 1967. I'm talking about Dulce, New Mexico, not Albuquerque. And in 1967, in December, the Atomic Energy Commission exploded an atomic device about 1.5 miles underground, which was about 22 miles southwest of Dulce, New Mexico, right next to the Hickory Apache Reservation. And very few people know about this.
Yeah, we posted 1957, so I want
about the second incident.
Oh,
that
the first one
happened in 1957. Very few people know the fact that the Air Force had accidentally dropped a hydrogen bomb from an Air Force plane right over Albuquerque while trying to land at Kirtland Air Force Base. This airplane was carrying one of the most powerful 42,000-pound hydrogen bomb, and just before it landed at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, and it was flying from Texas.
Right.
Somehow, right before it landed at Kirtland Air Force Base, something happened, and it dropped this bomb.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, in a location that there's nothing there. It was a desert, but right by Kirtland Air Force Base. And the biggest blessing was that it just was a near doomsday scenario, because the mechanism to explode the nuclear device in the bomb was not attached correctly. That's what my understanding, to the mechanism inside the plane. And very few people know about this incident. And this is a very, very serious incident. And the United States actually had about at least 10 of these accidents. They are called broken arrow accidents. Accidents, that had to do with nuclear bombs and other materials.
Where you've lost control of a nuclear weapon.
That's true too. There were lots of incidents like these, and these are all called broken arrow. And one broken arrow that most people are not familiar with is the one that we found out, and this was right just next to Kirtland Air Force Base. And today, that location is just a desert, because the Air Force cleaned it up completely after May 22nd, 1957. There was a huge crater that was created because of this explosion. It was a non-nuclear explosives which were used to trigger the armed nuclear devices, but they were detonated in this bomb, and it hit the ground, 4 miles south of the Kirtland Air Force Base control tower, and fortunately, by a miracle, it didn't cause a nuclear explosion. But, I'm saying fortunately, because what if it happened, it created a crater at least 20 foot deep, and almost 30 to 40 feet in diameter, and causing minor radioactive contamination in that area.
What did they do?
Most public had no idea that this happened until in 1986, the Albuquerque Tribune newspaper found out about it from the Freedom of Information Act, and everybody was shocked about it. And the LA Times also reported about it, and this location, Ground Zero, was completely cleaned up by the Air Force, just like the Roswell situation. The Air Force came out and completely leveled that whole area, cleaned it up within a matter of days.
Where are the bombs now? Are they still there? Did they bury them?
Well, the problem is that there's insufficient information. In fact, even through the Freedom of Information Act, the exact reason why the bomb fell from the airplane and so on, and the government documents doesn't. It's not. I would say declassified some details. So we believe that something is there, still there, but strangely enough, it is located in a newly developed housing area called Mesa del Sol in Albuquerque.
You've got to be kidding me.
Airport. It's a brand new housing development, Mesa del Sol, and I am certain that very few residents of that new community have any idea that they're living right by the ground zero of a atomic device.
Wait a minute. Wait, just let's slow down for a second. I need to wrap my mind around this. We don't know if that nuclear device is still buried in the ground or not. We don't know that. And now they've and there is construction and houses and families living on top of or close to where.
No, Jimmy, I just want to make sure that there's no misunderstanding. I'm sure that the Air Force cleaned up everything. In fact, there's not even a government plaque anywhere near there. Usually, for something like this, there should be a government plaque stating that this is the exact spot where something happened.
You would think, yeah.
But there's nothing there. It's completely covered up, and it's right next to Mesa del Sol, and this is the exact location where we are planning to have a night sky watch on October 4th after the New Mexico UFO conference.
Isn't there some type of disclosure? I mean, when you buy a house and somebody dies in the house, it's disclosed. There's things that are disclosed. It was a meth lab. It's disclosed in the documents. Are you saying that the residents of Mesa del Sol don't know that there was a potential Armageddon in their backyard, and it was right there, and the government hasn't disclosed that to them? Do you know if they have?
The government did admit that there was an accident there in 1986, but it's long forgotten, and most the younger generation of today, who are moving into those areas, I don't think they're that much interested in that history, but it's a nice location with a great view, by the way, of the Manzano and Sandia military base. You can see the entire Manzano-Sandia military base from that spot. And I posted the exact location on a Facebook page, and you can see the buildings of the Manzano base and the Sandia base. And by the way, both Manzano and Sandia bases inside the Kirtland base was established in 1947, the very same year that Sandia Labs was established, the very same year, 1947, that something happened in Roswell, the very same year that CIA was established, the very same year that the NSA, National Security Agency, was established, all happening in 1947 together with the establishment of the Air Force. I mean, this is just an amazing coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. Let's make something perfect. Yeah, let's make something. Well, how many of them in a row do you need before you start to draw conclusions?
I'm continually trying to get to the bottom of all this, and why this happened. And of course, this was in the Cold War era, so there could be some explanations. But just like what happened 10 years later. Remember, Jimmy?
Yeah, I'm here.
Something.
Oh, go.
In 1947, you had the Roswell incident. Okay.
Yep.
10 years later, in 1967, you had the New Mexico nuclear explosion near Dulce, New Mexico.
Right. 1957.
I'm talking about 3 incidents.
Right.
The Albuquerque hydrogen bomb incident was in 1957, and then the Dulce, New Mexico atomic explosion was 10 years later in 1967. And so it's very interesting. 10 years apart. From 1947, you had the Albuquerque incident, and then 10 years later, from 1957, namely 1967, the Nuclear Atomic Energy Commission exploded a bomb in northern New Mexico. And by the way, Jimmy, most people have no idea about this northern New Mexico atomic underground explosion and how this has caused a tremendous amount of cancer among residents near Dulce, New Mexico area and the surrounding communities. and how it had affected animals such as cows and so on. And very few people know about it. And, this is the very interesting thing, Jimmy, that Officer Gabe Valdez, the very famous New Mexico State Patrol officer in charge of the Dulce area from the 1970s to 1990s, he became involved in this kind of strange animal deaths, and he came to a conclusion that this may have been the reason for cattle mutilation. In other words, the government may have been monitoring the radiation on cows, specific cows in that area, and maybe this may have something to do with cattle mutilations in near Dulce from 1975 on, and the cover-up, and then creating the alien cover-up stories. And so we have in the upcoming October New Mexico UFO conference, Greg Valdez, who is the second son of the late Gabe Valdez, and Greg Valdez will be speaking about this whole Dulce-based situation. And so I'm really excited about this topic, and this conference in New Mexico, and how everything seems to be related. We have the David Marler, who lives in Rio Rancho, a fellow Rio Rancho resident. He's the author of Triangular UFOs, and I believe there's definitely something to triangular UFOs. And so we're gathering all these people in this unprecedented conference in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, right next to Albuquerque, on October 4th. We have Michael Schratt, who is a military aerospace historian, who will talk about man-made UFOs. And so, Jimmy, I think we're talking about some very important issues, including Travis Walton, alien abduction. We don't know what really is alien abduction. And Travis Walton has been talking about his experience for many, many years, and he has not changed any detail of his experience. And so I believe that there's something to it. We don't know the reality of this phenomenon. Maybe there's another level of reality involved in this whole situation. So this is the reason I gathered all these people to have a conference right here in New Mexico to address all these issues. And while trying to investigate all these issues, we found a lot of things about New Mexico that most people are unaware of, that people should have more interest in the New Mexico. It's not only about culture. Yes, New Mexico has a tremendous historical, cultural, UFO cultural tradition, but behind that there is a reality as well, and so we like to expose and explore all these topics relative to New Mexico and its tremendous importance in the history of UFOs.
Here's one for you. This is an email. And this is from Renee. She says, talking about New Mexico, she says, Norio, I like your Facebook photo in front of the Zuni and your inclusion of the list of, you're from New Mexico when. Okay, so of which we share some items with you next door here in Arizona. My favorite is, you're from New Mexico or Arizona when you think 6 tons of crushed rock make a nice lawn. And she goes on to say, she's absolutely right. She goes on to say, would you please comment on the Jicarilla Apache legends about the lights in the local skies? Thank you, Renee.
Oh, yes. There have been reports, so many reports of the residents of Dulce having seen some strange lights in the night sky, as well as some strange objects during the daytime. For many years, actually, and Dulce is a very small town, probably less than 3,000 in population wise, but the Hickory Apache people that live there have known about these reports, and if you ask any resident of Dulce, they will know at least one of their family members or relatives or friends who have reported these things and still continues to report things. So there is definitely something there, even a sighting of some military helicopters occasionally, and these reports still go on even today, and this is the reason why more investigation is needed.
Well, you've said to me before, and I find this totally interesting, that you could, sit anywhere around where you live and watch the lights in the sky, including from the Best Western in downtown. But, is it truly like that? I mean, can you just kick back on the porch and have a drink and a smoke and just sit there in a lawn chair and watch crazy things go down?
Well, actually, we are talking about Dulce, the town of Dulce, not Albuquerque, because
right.
Dulce is a very small town. It's very dark at night, very dark. The sky is just absolutely star-filled almost every night, and many times people see some things there that they can't explain, and of course, that's what they report. So they report lights in the sky or UFO, but the term UFO is relevant to the observer. So I really don't like the word UFO or UFOs because it means nothing.
Right.
It's just depending on who is observing it that makes it unidentified or identified. So it's a weird terminology that was, I think, was created on purpose by the U.S. Air Force. They came up with this ambiguous word, unidentified flying object, and it has caused a lot of misunderstanding, whether intentionally or not. I think it could be intentionally because the term UFO is meaningless because it's all relevant to the observer.
Confusion. Norio, I didn't announce open lines, but a couple of calls have come in. Do you want to take a call?
Sure.
Okay, let's just go straight to it. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black with Norio Hayakawa. Who's calling? Where are you calling from?
Yes, this is Nathan. I'm calling from Texas.
Hi, Nathan. How you doing tonight?
Nathan.
Pretty good. Just first off, just want to say I think the guest is doing a great job, and it's an important topic. I'm glad he's on the show.
Okay, thank you, Nathan. What have you got for Norio tonight?
I know when I lived in Raleigh, they talked about an aircraft, and I guess these nuclear bombs actually got dropped over North Carolina, but there's something in the fuse or something that caused it not to go off. It's just a sign of, the government. I mean, my God, they could have took out North Carolina, and the government wouldn't even admit that until, 40, 50 years later. So, what else are they keeping? I mean, that's kind of a major issue.
It is, and I agree with you, Nathan, and I'm going to actually follow up that statement and question to Norio with another one. If I remember correctly, we've also got another nuclear bomb sitting in the mud, down in the Gulf of Mexico, like off of Georgia or Louisiana. I could be wrong on the state, but it, they flew that out and dropped it intentionally to get rid of it because I think they were having mechanical problems with the plane. And I believe that nuclear device is still sitting in the Gulf of Mexico, buried in the mud. And so I guess, Norio, how many devices like this are out there unexploded, and does the government tell us about it, or do they not? I mean, like Nathan is saying, they leave it up to us to go out and find out on our own. They won't actually disclose it to us.
Well,
Nathan, thank you for the call.
things
Thank
in certain areas in the United States that we don't know nothing about, just like Nathan said, about North Carolina. And these are all part of this broken arrow situation that needs to be investigated more. And we hope that nothing happens because of all this kind of accidents. And that's my wish, But we have every right to know about these things. And this is the reason why I think that there's a very important need for the citizens to actually have this right for true freedom of information, not just blacked out freedom of information files. So we need a complete freedom of information.
One of the crazy things for me, and I'm glad that you're bringing this up, but I think about this all the time, and I think we all do, with all of the nuclear missiles that we have here in the United States and different silos all over the country, well, in the north, with all of that, with ships that are carrying Tomahawk nuclear tip missiles, submarines with nuclear tip missiles, and with all of these devices all around, there's two things that we need to feel safe about all of that. One, that when we need to fire one of those, that it is indeed going to fire. It has to be a 100% absolute certainty that it fires. That's the first thing. And second, that it doesn't go errant and explode over the United States or any some accident. And that's how we go to bed at night. If there was one accident, one crazy thing that happened, I think that we would have to shut down the whole nuclear program. Until it's fixed, and then our security drops, and our vulnerability is there, and that's what just freaks me out, and that we can't have an accident.
That's right. That's right. That's why I think it's important to talk about these issues. And today happens to be August 6th. In 1945, there was, of course, everybody knows about Hiroshima atomic bomb. That was August 6th, which is today happens to be. And what a very interesting day to talk about all these issues, And Jimmy, I'm really glad you have me on this show because initially we're talking about all these things, but we're also talking about general cover-ups, that there is definitely cover-up of things in this country, and including some UFO information cover-up. Whether the UFO phenomena, has anything to do with aliens or not, at least we need we need the right to have the information on the things. This is the reason why I'm telling you over and over again that there is a need for citizens watchdog group agencies such as Civilian Intelligence Network or Federation of American Scientists, and we continue to bring these issues up because many people don't. Many people have no idea. As I told you, even people who live in Albuquerque, New Mexico, most of them have no idea that a hydrogen bomb was accidentally dropped from a plane over our city on May 22nd, 1957, and the government never told about it until 1986, and so there could be other things that we haven't been told about until somebody finds out about it.
Well, this is the thing. Oh, by the way, there's a bunch of tweets that have been flying by. One hydrogen bomb was dropped in the Atlantic near Tybee Island off the coast of Savannah. That's from Les. Brad Kelly says Atlantic off of the Georgia coast, and that's from Brad. And I don't know why I was thinking there was another one. Is there another one? I thought there was one in the Gulf of Mexico too. But anyway, this is the thing. And there is no question with me that Washington, D.C. sits around every single day, Norio, every day, including today, and has changed the news, has changed the facts, and then presented to the public another alternate story. That's it. It goes on every single day. What are they covering? They're covering up everything. It could be the most basic of basics, but all truth is altered every single day. There is nothing that is fed to us at any level about anything that is ever the truth. And that's how I feel when we're talking about ET. Yeah, that is one thing. When we're talking about potential nuclear stuff, that's another thing. Look at Fukushima. We've never been told the truth about Fukushima ever since day one, and that's an example of what is going on. We have MH17 that has been shot out of the sky in the Ukraine. We don't know the truth of that. MH370, the other Malaysian plane, we don't know the truth. We have been fed nothing but lies on every single front. Pick a subject, Norio. Pick one, and I can tell you the truth. You just don't know, and that's where it's at. And I'm absolutely behind you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much, Jimmy. I'm a very realistic person. I look at things from a neutral standpoint, always keeping my feet on the ground, but yet I am open to lots of things, and so I'm not a skeptic. As far as UFO is concerned, I'm not a skeptic, but of course I keep my feet both on the ground and I evaluate information. There's a lot of sides to a story, and who knows what really happened, for example, in 1997 over Phoenix, Arizona,
right.
A big triangular football-sized triangular object passing over at night over Phoenix. Who knows the truth? What really happened? See, and the truth is hidden, and we have the right to know about all of this. Including the truth about the UFO phenomena. In other words, I believe the government is just as puzzled about the UFO phenomenon as us, and that they are afraid to come out in the open and admit that they are puzzled about it. So they should admit that they are puzzled about it, and they don't want to admit it.
Oh, man. Hey, Norio, let's grab another call. This is a friend. Dino, hi, you're live with Norio Hayakawa. How are you tonight, sir?
Good evening. I hope you're doing well. Keep your energy ready for the weekend.
Thank you, Dino.
Yes. Norio, I want to get right to it. I don't know if you know. I will defer to you because your feet are on the ground and you've been doing this research longer than me. Well, since we're talking about nuclear things, that we hear about all these places where weapons are gone bad. I also know that in the ocean off the San Francisco Bay, there are, we don't know how many barrels because we're not told the truth, but for many years after World War II, there was dumped nuclear waste in plain steel drums that were dumped, and they're lying supposedly on the ocean shore in the Pacific, and they're decaying. And a few years ago, some camera footage was shown about them, and so forth. And then we don't hear about it anymore. And so this nuclear energy that is so dirty, along with the bombs, do you have any idea that maybe at Area 51 there is some kind of energy source that's clean that could stop this craziness with the nuclear waste everywhere?
Dino, thank you for the call, Dino.
I'm sure that there is a technology to help, reduce all these kinds of, madness, but I don't know. The biggest problem, as far as, I'm not trying to change the subject, but I'm interested in the black budget programs of the United States. As a citizen, yes, the Congress maybe exempt from, trying to get to the bottom of this thing, Black Project. But the biggest problem with the Deep Black Project is how to control the waste, what to do about waste disposal from all these weapons development system. And this is the biggest issue and the biggest problem with Black Projects is the how to solve the waste from all these programs, and where to dispose them.
Yeah, they don't have to disclose any of that. And when something, because it's a Black Project, so they don't have to disclose it. And when something goes wrong at Area 51, you and I have seen all of those pictures of them digging holes in the ground, bulldozing whatever crashed into a pit, or craft that they don't need any, or whatever, with seriously toxic paint, materials, secret stuff that these craft are constructed out of, and what they need for propulsion, dump it into a pit and light a match and start burning it. And those guys are standing right there without anything protective on. And Lord knows what is happening to them in the future. And it never happened, Norio. It never happened. So they don't have to disclose or pay out insurance or settle a lawsuit. You can't even take it to court. What is that worker going to do? Oh, I was back engineering an ET craft. I got exposed and I'm dying now. Well, you know what? That's not going to fly in court. And that's it. You're absolutely right. And it freaks me out when I see those pictures with these guys wearing T-shirts and shorts, lighting barrels of what on fire at Area 51. And this stuff is real. It happens every day.
That's true. That's, as you know, Jimmy, that there are hundreds and hundreds of people who are victims of radiation from the Nevada test site, formerly Nevada test site, which is right now, it's called the Nevada National Security Site. But anyway, when that was a Nevada test site from the 60s, or even from the 50s, when they started exploding these atomic bombs, nuclear bombs, they're affected so many people in Utah, and even other states, even Idaho and northern, western Colorado and other states. Now, there are many, many people who have been exposed by radiation, and they have formed an association of radiation victims, association. I don't know the exact title, but their voices are rarely heard because they're having a hard time addressing their predicament, and so many people don't know about it. But there are, even today, hundreds of those people, American citizens, who have been exposed to radiation, and yet their voice is very small.
I have seen video of Vegas, right, on the Strip in the 60s, early 60s, mid-60s. Seen video, daytime and nighttime, video of nuclear tests going off in the distance, and they thought it was cool. Oh, check it out. It's such a, it's a nutty thing. If you can see a flash in the sky, right, I think you're too close. You're a little bit too close for that kind of fun and action. And it was going on all the time. There's another animation. I can't. There must be 20 million views of it on YouTube, and it was done by a Japanese guy. It's an animation of every single nuclear detonation done since 1945. All over the world. It is one of the most fascinating videos. Well, watch that video and watch what goes down in the Nevada desert outside of Las Vegas and look at how many explosions went down over there over a 20, 30-year period. Let's grab another call. I didn't even announce open lines, but they're coming in, so let's grab another one. Hi, you're live with Norio Hayakawa and Fade to Black. Who's calling?
RJ from the Arctic.
RJ from the Arctic.
That's right.
How are you, RJ?
I'm doing all right. I kind of joined the show a little late, but I'm enjoying it so far from what I've heard. You didn't know this, but I don't think. But when I was in the Air Force, I was a Minuteman missile technician. Okay, maintenance team for Minuteman missiles, Ellsworth Air Force Base, from '73 to '77.
Really?
Yeah, you
Okay.
didn't know that. That's anyway. Beside the point, let's go back to Alaska here. Have you guys covered Operation Plowshare yet?
Oh, yes, we
Or
did,
discussed it, you know what it
RJ.
is.
We mentioned the 1967 Plowshare program called Gas Buggy in northwestern New Mexico.
Okay.
But, you know,
Operation
there was
Plowshare back in 1958, when the scientists that developed the bomb, created the bomb that blew up Hiroshima and whatnot, the government wanted to keep them occupied. There's a book out called The Firecracker Boys. And for your listeners, if you want to read a really good book, that's a good book to read, and it tells you just how crazy our government can be. These gentlemen, for this Operation Plowshare, were assigned the task of creating a deep water harbor not far from where I was a police officer in Point Hope, Alaska. This was back in the 50s, right? 58.
Okay.
And their job was to detonate 6 nuclear weapons. I'm not kidding you, nuclear bombs to create this deep water harbor. And they were trying to convince the natives up there, that the Inupiat people, that it wasn't going to harm them. And we're talking a very short distance. We're, within a couple hundred miles.
Right.
Not even that, actually. And that was the government's plan. And the elders of the village of Point Hope said, you think we were born yesterday, basically?
Right.
And they got a very smart attorney involved. There were a couple of them, and they battled it, and they won. But they literally were going to do this in the United States in 1958. I mean, it's to me, it was just incredible. And the location did, in fact, get contaminated. And it's interesting because Point Hope and some of those other villages that are located on the Chukchi Sea shorebed or shoreline have a huge number of folks that have died of cancer under very strange circumstances.
And
so
plus and the other thing, RJ, is, they live off the land, they're fishing and everything.
100%.
Yeah. And they depend on that. And Norio, I can't wait to hear your comments on Plowshare.
Oh, yeah. That's RJ was right.
Thank you, RJ.
Okay,
RJ, yeah, thanks for bringing up the Plowshare program. And, of course, it's ironic that Plowshare, the word came from the Bible about peace, and that it was a quote from a Bible talking about peace and, swords into plowshare and all that. But that program by the Atomic Energy Commission, which is the today it's a DOE, Department of Energy, but the one of the well-known Plowshare program happened in northern New Mexico, right next to Jicarilla Apache Indian Reservation near Dulce, New Mexico, on December of 1967, and the excuse was that they are going to explode this nuclear bomb in order to soften the hard rocks underground to ease the flow of natural gas in that area to help the area. But 10 years later, it started, radiation started leaking little by little, and the result is that in the past, 30 years, whatever, there have been an extraordinary number of residents with cancer in that whole area, and women with fertility problems, and so on down the line, even affecting animals such as cows and so on. And what happened with this Plowshare program was that in the name of peace, changing the weapons to plowshares, it really produced a negative thing, and so it's an irony, and it's been covered up. Most people have no idea that this happened. And there was another one near Carlsbad, New Mexico. And then, as you said, RJ, nuclear irresponsibility is something that we have to really keep bringing up. There's a Navajo Nation in New Mexico as well as Arizona that has been affected by uranium, and it's some communities, small Native American communities are still suffering from the effects of this contamination, and nothing seems to have been done about it.
Norio, let me ask you this, and I'm going to reach a little bit, but just let me ask you this. When you have two things that went down in New Mexico at the same time. Now, just go with me on this, and I want your answer. Number one, you had what went down with Paul Benowitz, the cattle mutilation stuff that was going on out there. You have the Dulce thing happening at the same time. You had what happened with Linda Moulton Howe. You had a possibility of a very real possibility of an alien influence on the cattle mutilation and horses too and other animals. You had all of that, and then you had the government testing of Plowshare and other nuclear devices that was going on at the same time. Could the government have used the UFO phenomenon to create the illusion of further government testing on the cows and the cattle that could have been alien at one point, but then the government needed to test the radiation effects on livestock and other things from the programs that were going on? Did the two of them come together at the same time, and the government was able to use the UFO phenomenon to cover up their own stuff, and that there was some actual ET experimentation going on, and then the government was able to use that and then blow it up all out of proportion and then blame it all on ET and then laugh? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I know exactly what you've been saying, and this is exactly what I've been trying to figure it out all these years. And people like Greg Valdez, who himself was a state patrol officer in New Mexico and the son of the late Gabe Valdez, he also came to the conclusion that there's a relationship between these things, cattle mutilation and the alien stories, whether it was created on purpose or not. There is some correlation, and that's exactly what I have been trying to investigate, because I believe that it's very possible for the government to stage something that is not true by using certain kind of technologies for deception. And but that is not to say that originally they may have been something that we don't know. That
exactly.
At the same time,
exactly.
That maybe alien related in some ways, and we don't know the definition of alien yet. And government has always been interested, I believe, if they knew about the truth about the alien situation. As I said, maybe we don't know the real definition of what is an alien. Is it some kind of a biological entity that we still don't know about, that have coexisted with us? We don't know, and that's why it's an important subject. It goes two ways. And Jimmy, you hit the nail right, because there could be two situations going at the same time. There need to be some kind of a cover story to cover up one thing while they are mystified with the real thing.
It puzzles me. It really does. And what Doty did with Benowitz, we know how awful that was. And, he probably caused Paul to go the direction that he did, and that was horrible. And we know that the government had everything to do with that, but at the very same time, everything else was going on there. And what an opportunity for hey, check this out. I know that ET did this, but we're doing this over here, so we can the whole thing seems shifty to me. It just does. The whole thing seems wrong. And hey, I wanted to ask you. I've never really figured out how to say this guy's name correctly, but Tal Levesque. How do you say his last name?
His name is Tal Levesque.
Levesque.
Means, in French, Levesque means the bishop.
Okay.
And so he calls himself Tal Levesque or Jason Bishop.
Jason Bishop.
He's been around for many, many years in the UFO scene, many, many years. And he is one of the initial person to come out with lots of information relative to underground tunnels and all this kind of things. And there is some truth, I believe, to some of the things that he says. And this is why I hate to discount everything that people say about underground tunnels, because there is something to all this.
Well, I've never talked to him. I've read a bunch of his stuff. What percentage do you think is real or based on myth when it comes to Tal?
Well, it's hard to say, Jimmy. That's the real truth. Obviously, not everything he says, or probably the bulk of the things he says, are probably totally out of the ballpark as far as believability is concerned. But some of the things he says are could be based on reality, because as he stated, and many other researchers have stated, the Rand Corporation by 1950 had lots of information, technological information, to create humongous drilling machines or boring machines to create tunnels, using nuclear power, and using technologies of changing the soil and the dirt into glass type of material as they bore the holes. And so we're talking about something that's, on one hand, very possible, but on the other hand, there has been exaggeration of things, so it's very difficult to assess the truth. But I'm of the belief that where there is a smoke, there's something.
Well, kind of like, going back to Phil Schneider, it's the same kind of vibe. I mean, the extraordinary claims, but, then Phil dies a very mysterious death. And I still, I think he was murdered. That's my own belief. But say what you want about Phil, his claims, his stories were about as extraordinary as it gets. But then again, like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire. And
that's exactly what I think it is. And, talking about New Mexico in Albuquerque, as I mentioned to you a while ago, that there has been this tremendous complex of military testing facility called the formerly known as Manzano Sandia Military Base, which was established in 1947 in right inside Kirtland Air Force Base. But a very interesting fact is that in this base, the military base, there is a biological laboratory operated by the Loveless. Loveless Group is the medical association, very famous in New Mexico, but there is a biological laboratory which has been there on the base, military base, for many, many years, where they tested, continue to test animals, and with animal disease, and even possibly biological weaponry. No one knows, but it's right there inside this tremendous expanse of the Manzano Sandia military base. And we can see that facility from a distance, and this is exactly where the location we're going to visit in October, on October 4th, right after the New Mexico UFO conference. We're going to have a free tour to this place, and we can see all these things, from a distance. And so I'm excited about it.
What you need to do, this is what I would do, Norio. This is my advice. I'd rent a Bobcat and go out there to Mesa del Sol and start digging and see what the government does. See if they just show
who knows?
up.
Because somebody mentioned that I should take a shovel and get a soil sample from that near ground zero and see if there's still some kind of a contamination or radiation.
I've got a bunch of email and tweets about Pine Gap, and I don't know what you know about Pine Gap, but what are they? If you do, what are they covering up out there in Australia?
Well, it has been said that Pine Gap is associated with NSA and its intelligence gathering that involves, top items of top secret and using all kinds of methodology to exchange information among the intelligence agencies and so on. And it was called Australia's version of Area 51, but it's underground as well, and there are many antenna parabolic dishes and other antenna structures. But we don't know really much about it other than the basic information that it was the listening post by NSA. And so other than that, it's hard to say.
Exactly. Every time I try to research Pine Gap, I seriously just throw up my arms. It's there. It exists. We know it. What it's there for, we'll potentially just never know. It's a bunch of antenna. It's remote. They've got it guarded. There's no way to get close to it. Therefore, it is what it is. And like I said, I just throw up my hands every time.
Yeah, it's something interesting. Like I said, there are so many locations that we don't know much about, and so that's the way it is.
And what about Skinwalker? Let me jump in on that. I just got a tweet from Michael Anderson about Skinwalker.
Well, Skinwalker is a very important subject as far as I'm concerned, because it's a long-held tradition of beliefs by the mainly by the Native American population that there is this entity called Skinwalker that appears occasionally at night or sometimes daytime. I'm not sure, but it's part of a traditional belief of the Native American population, and it's no different from the reports of Bigfoot. And I still am open to any possibilities such as this type of phenomenon, which we cannot explain yet fully with our scientific methods, but there could be something to it. So Skinwalker is, I would say, an important element of this whole UFO culture.
Steve Morello went up there a couple of months ago, and he went up there with Alex Mistreta, and so he goes up, and this was the interesting thing. We actually had him live on the air from Skinwalker a couple of months ago, and this was the interesting thing that came out of that. He went to a local convenience store right outside of Skinwalker, out there, very remote. And he goes into the convenience store to stock up on water and beef jerky or whatever they're going to use to survive on in case there was anything bad. Anyway, so they go up there. But so they go into the convenience store and they pull in and they're talking to this young man that worked at the store who actually came on the show live. Norio. It was totally interesting. His name was Harley. And so I asked him, I said, so, you guys ever see anything strange? Oh man, every day, all the time. We all do. Really? Like what? Oh man, lights and he describes this a dog with like no legs, I believe. I'd have to go back and listen to the show. But he says that it goes on every single day. Everybody that lives up there has been seeing things every single day, and it's no big deal. It's like it goes on all the time.
Well, I think, Jimmy, you're talking about the Skinwalker Ranch.
Yep.
And because initially I thought you were talking about the general topic of skinwalkers, and I explained that, it's part of the belief system of the Native American people.
Right.
Yeah, but there is a Skinwalker Ranch, which was operated by Robert Bigalow, a multi-billionaire in Las Vegas, who, by the way, investigated Dulce, New Mexico. Also, there is a very mysterious ranch north of Dulce, right by the Colorado state line. It's called it's a ranch. I forgot the name of that exact ranch, but it's similar to that. But it's now owned by the Utes, Indian people, and nobody can go inside. But for many years, there had been rumors that the CIA was operating some kind of a facility in this Redding Ranch. That's the name of it, Redding Ranch, just north of Dulce, right by the Colorado state border, state line. And that's where many people had seen a strange aircraft landing and leaving, and there was a guard tower and so on. It's still a mystery.
Why would Bigalow just totally close it down? And by the way, Ken, I'm just going to let you know that wasn't me. I heard it too. It was just a tweet that just came in, Norio. Why would Bigalow just shut it down, buy it, and then close it off to the public?
Well, that's the biggest mystery to all this. And, well, I'm not trying to point finger at anybody, but Mr. Bigalow, with his tremendous financial availability, has delved into these issues. But the mysterious thing about all of this is that, for example, the Redding Ranch investigation, the conclusion by the organization of Mr. Bigalow was that there was nothing to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I have gone to Bigalow Industries' website. I invite anybody to go and do it, by the way. Go to the website. You can't contact anybody. There's no phone number. There's no email. There's no access. There is nothing on the Bigalow website. They've got plenty of things. It's really weird, job opportunities or whatever, all of that stuff. But as far as a phone number or a way to contact anybody at Bigalow, you cannot do it. I suppose you have to drive out there and knock on the door. But as far as Bigalow Industries goes, there's no way to contact Bigalow. I would love to get him on the show. I have a million questions about him and MUFON and his contracts with NASA and his fascination with ufology and what he knows. But you can't do it. He's a guy that you just can't contact. If anybody listening right now has a way to contact Mr. Bigalow of Bigalow T, if anybody has a way to contact him, please let me know. I would love to get him on the show. Questions are a mile long for Bigalow.
Yes, no question about it. He even paid many people, many researchers, many years ago to gather at a certain kind of retreat house for a special meeting. And he paid all the expenses and he wanted to find out about what these researchers knew. But it's my opinion that he knows definitely more than these researchers about things, and that's why it's a mystery. And so I don't really trust that the organization, even though they say that the National Discovery Science Institute, National Institute of Discovery Sciences, was closed down, but I believe it's still working with various projects and headed by Mr. Bigalow. In fact, Jimmy, it's my suspicion that the Las Vegas billionaire, multi-billionaire Mr. Robert Bigalow is behind the new atomic museum in Las Vegas, which has been promoting Area 51 for the past 3 years, and it's operated by Smithsonian National Institute, Smithsonian Institute, and it is it has changed National Atomic Museum, and it's very interesting because it has become a public conduit to anything that deals with Area 51, and they have perennial Area 51 exhibit, and it's was never heard of, an Area 51 exhibit for the public, sponsored by a national Smithsonian Institute.
You know what's funny about that? I was actually I was going to go on the air with they have a radio show, I think on Saturdays or something, for an hour. And anyway, a couple of months ago, and at the same time, the reason why I was going to go on was about Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar finally came out after 20 years and was taken to the Area 51 exhibit by George Knapp, and they videotaped the whole thing, showing Bob finally out in public and going to look at the Area 51 exhibit there. By the way, I think the Smithsonian has removed their name from that exhibit, from the museum.
You're right about that. It doesn't say Smithsonian anymore, but the fact is that it's the National Atomic, I forgot the exact name, National Atomic Testing Museum, and it's a big place, and it has a lot of backings financially, and I think I have a suspicion that Mr. Robert Bigelow's the organization is behind this museum.
Well, when was the last time you talked to, speaking of Bob Lazar? And you know what? It's we're at the top of the hour. I have not done a station ID all night, Norio. It's all your fault. So let's get that out of the way right now. This is Fade to Black on the Dark Matter Radio Network. And I'm Jimmy Church, and we are speaking with Norio Hayakawa. I love saying your last name, Hayakawa. Norio Hayakawa, OG UFO researcher. Okay, we got that out of the way. I want to go ahead and officially open up the phone lines. I know that there's a lot of people out there that would love to speak to you. So the number is 323-825-5045, 323-825-5045. You can also Skype in Fade to Black 14 if you would like to run a question past Norio. When was the last time you spoke with Bob Lazar?
Well, that was actually, I have not personally spoken to him except in 1990 when we all went to his residence in Las Vegas for an 3-hour interview. And then I met him again in 1991 in Rachel, Nevada, for a seminar in which he showed up.
That was the famous seminar that he had never spoken before, and he got up. Was that the one with the tent?
No, that was the 1993. So there was 3 occasions.
Okay.
that Bob Lazar appeared in public. And the only time that he spoke in public was the 1993 seminar right in Rachel under a military tent provided by Area 51 base.
Still one of the best stories ever in the history of ufology.
It is. It's an amazing story, and it's real. And Mr. Travis, Joe Travis, the proprietor of Alien, who is no longer here because he passed away, but he had a relationship with the Groom Lake Area 51 base for many years while operating that Rachel Bar and Grill, or the Little Alien, for many years. But he had a good relationship with the base, and of course he somehow got in touch with the base, and the base loaned him a huge military tent for the UFO seminar with Bob Lazar right on his parking lot with 250 chairs.
What was he? This is the thing for me with Bob. I think he magnetic is the right word. Well spoken. Did he have the same effect on you?
Oh yes. Well, it's still a mystery to me. And the very fact that after all these years he has never changed his story, and of course the Open Minds Alejandro Rojas reported last year that he had been assigned as one of the consultants to Raytheon, and Raytheon is a humongous defense company that has a large presence in Area 51 and also at other important military test facilities. And just the fact that Mr. Lazar had been, assigned as one of the consultants to Raytheon is indication that he is somebody that knows about weapon systems.
Well, the thing is, it seems to me like he was rewarded. And on top of that, or paid, I should say, rewarded, paid, because with everything that happened with him and the disclosure of Area 51 and the debunking and the shutting down of Bob Lazar's story and going into his background, after everything that was done, then they turn around and he gets a job like this. I would assume that would be the exact thing that would prevent him from any type of gainful employment from a high-tech government contract anywhere, period. But yet it seems to have happened. And that almost leads credibility to Bob Lazar's story.
Well, we don't know for sure the real truth about the Bob Lazar's claims, but we know for sure that presently he has a very realistic business, United Nuclear in Michigan, and the fact is that he still receives contracts from defense contractors on certain matters. And it indicates that he's a real person with real knowledge of very important military technology. So whether his claims about Area 51 and his claims about aliens and alien technology is disinformation or not, we don't know. We don't know for sure. But the government can use anything to bring about certain information intentionally to the public, while confusing part of the public and while distributing something important to part of the other public. See, so there's a two-pronged, thing going on.
Well, yeah, and with Bob, the story as great and as crazy and as nutty and as fringe, however you want to look at it, it was. Now looking back, and we have plenty of years, and I want to touch on the Malibu base, by the way. This is kind of connected.
I don't know if he's ever really been debunked. I really don't. I don't know. I really don't. Stanton Friedman, great guy, great researcher, did his best to shoot down everything with Caltech and his education and his background and so forth. But I'm not too sure if Bob Lazar really officially has been just shot out of the sky. Looking back right now, I think he's on solid ground. I really do. I think something went down out there, and he knew a little bit too much. The things that nobody else had ever really talked about before. Element 115 is another thing you can bring into the picture. His theories on the propulsion system and how that went down. Nobody's really ever really shot any of it down. And I think he's as solid today as he ever was. I've reached out to him, Norio, and had some communication over the last year a few times. And he just said to me directly that he didn't want to talk about the past, that it was running the ground. And I said, look, Bob, I don't care what you talk about. You just dropped off the face of the earth, and I think that everybody out there would just like to know what you've been up to and that you're okay, and what is life about for you now today. And he was like, okay, sure, okay, good. And then he went and did the thing with George Knapp, which I respect because him and Knapp are old friends, and I understand that. But that was his communication with me. He didn't want to talk about the old stuff. And I said, fine. And then it was just kind of let go. I reached out to him again last month, and it's still on the back burner. But I do want to, I want to bring him on just to talk about what he has done since then. If he doesn't want to discuss Area 51 and S4, that's fine. But let's talk about, why you dropped off and what is life about for you now. Are you there, Norio?
Yes.
Earth to Norio, checking in.
Yes, I'm here, but it seems like I'm having a cough attack right now.
Well, see, I do that all the time, but I have a mute button. Nobody knows when I'm having a cough attack here.
But it's an important subject. A lot of people right away discount Bob Lazar completely. But I don't like to discount him completely because he is a real person with real claims. Now, his claims cannot be proven, but the very fact that he still conducts his business and does contract work with the part of the government is an indication that there's something solid about that person, knowledgeable in weapon systems. And so no matter how people like Mr. Friedman or other people try to put him down, I'm still keeping my, my viewpoint open to Bob Lazar, that he's a very, very important person in all of this.
The reason why I wanted to segue over to the Malibu base is only because of you. With what you've done with Area 51 and with Bob Lazar and George Knapp and all of those cats back then, and Wolf McCarran and Glenn, all of those guys back then, to now, we've had this gap in research with ufology in that we had Area 51, but nothing really up until this crazy thing that we found off of the coast of Malibu, and what it is or what it could be. We don't know what it is, but we haven't had anything this exciting since Lazar. It's been 25 years. Do you feel the same way, that there's been this big gap of things that we can call tangible, that we can reach out and touch, like Area 51? We know it's there. This Malibu base or whatever it is off of the coast of Malibu, we know it's there. It exists. It's sitting right there underneath the water, like Dulce. Dulce sitting out there in the it's a real place. But we haven't had anything tangible to go and research and get excited about. Do you feel the same way?
Well, I think that it's very fascinating, by looking at the formation over there, the underwater formation. By looking at it, and the exact position is very fascinating. And as you said, it's very hard to prove unless one goes there with the latest machinery and find out if these are pillars and all these are opening, looking like things are real, artificial or not. It's hard to say. But until that, it's a very fascinating thing. And based upon the fact that the largest naval weapons testing facility in the United States is right in the middle of the desert in California, Mojave Desert, the China Lake Naval Weapons Testing Center. And recently there was another U.S. naval testing facility that came to light, and this exists, I believe, it was in Idaho or somewhere up there. But why would the United States Navy have weapon systems and even submarine testing locations in this kind of place like Idaho, in a lake? And and then, of course, the many speculations that there are tunnel connections all over. It wouldn't be surprised, that if there's some kind of a humongous opening, artificial opening under California that leads to the ocean and goes inside to all these southwest by some kind of underwater system or even tunnels, So it's not surprising, and it's a fascinating thing, even though it's difficult to prove 100%.
It's fascinating for me to look up and down the coast of the United States on both sides, the East Coast and the West Coast, looking for anything. And I invite anybody to do this in Google Earth, to just scan up and down in satellite mode and look for any type of anomaly that looks like the Malibu base. Look for anything like that, any type of opening, anything, anywhere, and it doesn't exist. We have looked up and down Norio. We have gone up and down both sides of South America, all the way up to Alaska, all the way back down, all the way from Greenland, all the way down to the tip of Cape Horn in South America. Done the same thing all around Africa and Europe and Japan, looking for anything like this. It does not exist. This is the only anomaly that looks like an opening. I'm serious. I've done it until my eyes have bled, and so has everybody else here, looking for anything else. And one of the main reasons for it is, well, first off, there must be something like this for the military somewhere. It would only make sense that there would be some type of submarine or undersea base like this somewhere. It only makes sense. I get that. Whether it is used by ET or something else, that doesn't matter. Whether it's a natural formation, Norio, that we've taken advantage of, an undersea river that is running underneath the United States, and we're accessing bases inland with that. Well, that's why we would use it. I get that too. That none of that is the point. The point is that if we could have found something else like it somewhere else, then we could say, hey, maybe it is a natural formation. It's just an anomaly. It's not that big of a deal. But we can't replicate. We can't find anything else that looks even remotely close to this. No, and I mean nowhere. And if anybody else can find something, I get 10, 15 emails a day of different anomalies that people have found, but there is nothing like this. It's the only one. And where is it? Like you said, right next to China Lake, right next to Point Magoo, right next to Wainimi. And then, of course, you have Hawthorne up in Nevada, the Navy's undersea warfare center off of Lake Hawthorne, which is right up from in between Reno and Las Vegas, just north of Area 51. So you have that too. It's in a strange spot, but we have something that we can go and investigate and check out and call the government on, just like you did with Area 51.
Yes, it's very interesting. I was very surprised, and I just couldn't believe my eyes when I saw it. And of course, I've read a lot of refutations about that topic that's saying that it's a natural formation. But thinking about that thing, the scale is just amazing. I mean, the scale of this you're talking about. Probably, more than a mile, more than 2 miles.
Yes.
The pillars
yes.
and so on.
Yes, and well, there's that part of it. But when anybody wants to come in as skeptic and call it a natural formation and doesn't want to, the geographical survey, for them to come in and say, well, it's natural. Of course, they're going to say it's natural. Nobody's going to say it's unnatural. What? It's funny when I get these questions from people and they want my reaction on that. Look, seriously, you don't honestly expect anybody from any government agency or from Google Earth or from any governing body to step in and go, yeah, you know what? That's unnatural. Yeah, that's man-made. Oh yeah, we're using. Of course not. Nobody is going to say it. Nobody, period. So don't expect anybody to say anything else but that. And that's it. Now, what it is, I don't know. We're going to find out, and we will. We all know it's there now, Norio. The cat is out of the bag, and it's there. What's funny is Google Earth, when they were contacted about this, they said no comment. And so when you get something like that, I would love, the government knows that we've made this disclosure. It's certainly public and everybody knows about that. And it's not that big of a deal, but why haven't they said anything? That's my point. Come out and just say, hey, it's an undersea mountain. There's nothing there. But silence, I love it. Did you see the picture that we posted? We went out last week, 2 weeks ago, and flew over it and shot a bunch of video. And check this out, Norio. You're going to love this. So we're flying on GPS, flying to the point. Now, the shape of it is an oval, and the pillars are down at the bottom of it on the south side in the 6 o'clock position, right? That's where the entrance is. And our GPS waypoint is right in between the two pillars on the south edge of the plateau. And we're flying from the northeast, and we're flying down. We have this waypoint, and we're cruising right on GPS. And we're about a mile out, and the pilot, Steve, turns to me, old buddy of mine, turns to me, and he goes, hey, man, check that out. Now, down below us, there is nothing there. We're 6 miles out into the ocean. Not a ship, nothing. It's just open sea. Nothing there. I could see Magoo. I can see Wainimi. I can see the coastline. But as far as I could see around us, it's just wide open ocean. And Steve goes, dude, check that out. What's that? And I look down. I'm videotaping. And I look down. And right as we cross the X with our navigation on the cockpit, on the dashboard, right as we cross that X, right below the plane is a dive boat. Right on our exact waypoint. A big 100-foot boat, dive boat, painted white. Yes. Now, I'm telling you, Norio, as far as the eye can see, there's not a boat, a ship, or anything out there. Nothing. Now, and out there in the Pacific Ocean, out of any place a boat could be, a dive boat, he's on our waypoint. And that waypoint is at the southern edge smack dab in between the two pillars. And the two pillars are a half mile wide, right? And that boat was right there. And so we circled it and videotaped it. Now, people are going to say, so what else did you see, Jimmy? You know what? It doesn't really matter. We saw that. And why was that there? I got to ask you. And as we circled, we got as close as we could. We were probably 500 feet off the deck. I think FAA regulations were that we have to stay 500 feet away from this vessel, according to Steve. So we're circling, in a very tight circle, and I'm videotaping and I'm zooming in as close as I can, and I could see what looked like, again, it's hard to judge and see perfectly, but looked like there were two divers on the north side of the boat in the water, and with people talking to them over the side of the boat. And we could see that. And I could only see it for a minute. A plane doesn't hover. It's not a helicopter.
That's right.
So we're always moving forward in the circular pattern that we were doing. But every time we came around, I'm trying to zoom in. I've got, the plane and the fuselage and things that are always interfering with a direct line of sight. But I did the best that I could. It's a fascinating video, one that we're going to post shortly. But again, I have to say, why was this boat there at that exact spot? I don't know, but it was there.
Fascinating. And, like I said, there's so many things that we still don't know much about, and so this is why people like you and I, and should continue, questioning a lot of things about everything, and so this is what I do. This is what I do, and I don't try to sell anything. I have nothing to sell. All the things that I write or say or statements or show is just for the public, so I give it free, and I'm thankful for this internet medium, because even though the bulk of the information on the internet could most likely just crazy stuff, there are definitely some things such as your thing that we should look into, and this goes the same with Area 51, the alleged Dulce base, and all this kind of thing, which is part of this whole mystery, that anybody that says that there's no mystery about this earth or about this world is a fool, because we just know only a little bit about the real truth about this whole existence, and so that's my belief. So I'm appreciative, Jimmy, of what you're doing, and please continue your excellent work, and I'll continue to push these agenda to find out the truth, and the public has a need to know.
Now, before I let you go, I'm going to ask you a couple of simple questions that I think everybody needs to hear an answer from you. Is the government covering up ET?
Well, that's a big question.
What's your belief? Is the government covering up the knowledge of intelligent life out there?
Well, in a sense, first of all, we're stuck with the ET. We just don't know what is an ET, if it exists. So that's the biggest problem. I believe that there's definitely extraterrestrial life elsewhere in the universe, but I kept the position that when it comes to the actual physical visitations of ETs to this earth, I keep an open mind. That's what I do, and I will never give up this search, because this is such an important aspect. And as I said in the beginning, I am of the belief that the government is just as puzzled about this UFO phenomenon as all of us, and they don't want to admit their ignorance on this subject.
Have you ever been fed any disinfo from the government, to your knowledge?
It's possible. It's possible. It's possible that I have been fed disinformation from the government on certain issues. But I keep an open mind, and I try to use a lot of sensitivity and the discrepancy and and the reason to figure everything out, which is impossible to do, but I keep doing. And this is why everything I do, I try to post it to the public. I don't have nothing to hide, and that's why I want to bring it out, everything into the open, and that's why I'm available for anybody to contact me through Facebook or any means. Just Google my name on the internet or on YouTube, and you'll get information on me.
You know what I did? I actually put up the link to your Facebook page.
Oh, very good.
I thought, okay, he wants to be a troublemaker. Okay, I'm going to give him a little dose of his own medicine. So I put up your
excellent. And I was recently assigned as the public information director of one of the largest Facebook pages about Area 51. And it's called Area 51 with a small letter, capital A, and the rest is small letters. And Area 51 is never capitalized. It's always in small letters, except for A. And you can look under Area 51, and I have posted a lot of information, mostly reliable information concerning Area 51, and I'm glad to be assigned by this person to be the director of public information.
It's just an amazing conversation with you. And before I let you go, how's the music going?
Oh, I still play music, and that's my second hobby. And I'm now beginning to put my effort into regular guitar music. I am trying to perfection my own style of finger picking with melody, rhythm, and chord at the same time. At the Chet Atkins style.
Chet Atkins, yeah.
Yes, he's my hero in guitar, and it's very difficult to do at least a 4-finger picking. But I have being very comfortable with 2-finger picking, which I can do. And so one of these days I will post my latest 2-finger picking music.
Keep up the good work, Norio. We need more like you.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Like I said, you are truly OG, and I can't speak enough about that. So October 4th is the event.
Yes.
I know that you've got Gabe Valdez's son, you've got Travis Walton, you've got David Marler, who is absolutely amazing. Love David. Well, everybody. Who else? Yourself, and then
we have Mike Schratt.
Mike Schratt. Right.
He's a very interesting guy with a military aviation historian. And so anyway, it's going to be a great conference, the first time ever in the city of Rio Rancho, New Mexico, October 4th. Just the same time as the Balloon Fiesta in Albuquerque, right next door. So those of you who want to visit this marvelous, mysterious state of New Mexico, just come to the Balloon Fiesta and then come to the New Mexico UFO Conference.
I'm looking at tweets here. They're just coming in. Thank you, Norio. Thank you. So, again, thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
All the best, and I will talk to you soon. Just keep stirring the hornet's nest, keep causing trouble, do your thing, and I just love what you post every single day on Facebook. I'm always right there. Thank you, Norio.
God bless you, Jimmy.
You too. Bye-bye. Norio Hayakawa. That's Hayakawa. An OG researcher. Been there since day one, and I can't just say enough. Thank you, Norio. Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to open up the phone lines. I'll open them up after the break. Got a lot of stuff to talk about yet tonight. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Thank you, Norio Hayakawa. And I'll be back right after this. Stay with us, everybody.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal Guard on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? My name's Brian Taylor, Ninja Badass Extraordinaire, and this is JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KJCR in your face.
JimmyChurchRadio.com
on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
All right. Fade to black. Midweek marathon here, man, at Fade to Black. I'm not kidding about that. Midweek marathon. We are gearing up after tomorrow night's show. Yeah, everybody needs to understand, by the way, this is Fade to Black, only on the Dark Matter Radio Network. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio, by the way. That's what you want to do. You do want to hashtag DM RadioNet. Come hang out with everybody. And shoot me an email to Jimmy at JimmyChurchRadio.com. You can also do that over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Go to the contact page and do that. And I'm going to clean that up, by the way. Anyway, all right. Norio Hayakawa. We are midweek. And tomorrow night, we're going to do Call-In Thursday and then pack up the studio. So tempted tomorrow night to just run a best of show and do the things that we need to do here and get ready for Friday heading out to Contact in the Desert. But I won't do that to everybody. Okay, so we're going to do it. I'm going to nut it up. I'm going to man up, do what I got to do, get the show done, and then pack up, get ready to go. And then we're heading to Contact in the Desert first thing Friday morning. I think we're going to roll in there probably, oh, man, maybe around noon, 1 o'clock, get checked in, and then come over and start setting up for the show. And then somehow, by the grace of Starbucks, pull off a show tomorrow night or Friday night at 7 o'clock. And it's going to be absolutely amazing. Okay. All right. So that's it, man. We are midweek in this marathon. I'm opening up the phone lines right now. And so there you go, 323-825-5045. Rick Sinnott had just posted earlier, so I want to ask him the details on this. He said something about, and since he just made this public, he says that he was going to go work for Bigalow. He was going to go work. I'm reading it right here. I'm reading it. So now that it's public, it's been tweeted. I want to know about that, Rick. So I expect you to call in here in just a minute. 323-825-5045. I was talking at the beginning of the show about Westall. And the thing is, and Westall is one of those, I'm talking about the Westall Elementary School incident from 1966. Westall, if you don't know about it, and the thing is about Westall is I think that most researchers and fans of ufology, unless you are deep into it, you've never heard of Westall. But once you find out and get into what Westall was and is and how it happened and how it went down, truly one of the more fascinating cases in all of ufology, all of it. And when you look at things like when we were talking about Travis Walton with Norio a little bit ago, there are a few cases, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 events that you can just go, okay, there's something going on here. Westall is one of those cases. And I did reach out. I will reach out again now that this new story has come out publicly about the nuclear testing, radiation on Westall. The case is amazing. So I want to get a couple of guys on here. And one of them that I did contact a couple of months ago was the director of the Westall documentary. Again, for everybody out there, it's Westall. When I started researching Westall about it, I'm going to say 5 years ago, then the documentary came out.
And then about a year ago, I got back into it again. And it is one of the most documented crazy cases out there. Now, I pulled up a little bit of info during Norio's interview. The Westall UFO encounter is an event that occurred on April 6th, 1966 in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. Around 11 a.m., for about 20 minutes, more than 200 students and teachers at 2 Victorian state schools allegedly witnessed an unexplained flying object which descended into a nearby open wild grass field. The paddock was adjacent to a grove of pine trees in an area known as the Grange, which is now a nature reserve. According to reports, the object then ascended into a northwesterly direction over the suburb of Clayton, South Victoria, Australia. Now, that's it in a nutshell. Now, what I do want to say is, with this case, is the students, somebody saw something out of one of the windows, and then they all gathered at the windows, and then eventually went outside into the parking lot. And I'm talking about 200 students and teachers and faculty went out across, cameras, photographs. The craft then lifted up and flew away. One of the eyewitnesses to it, she said that her and her friends then ran through the trees that they're referring to here, the pine trees. There was a path that went through these woods, and they ran through and ran up. Balloons are often mistaken for flying saucers. Besides the difference in shape and actions, they are identical. That was from Brad Kelly. Exactly. Ran up on this thing, and they watched it sitting on the ground, and then took off. They were interviewed by all of the local media, television, newspapers, and it all got documented and then was never mentioned again, period. And all of the local news, all of the tapes, all of the interviews, anything that was photographed or videoed about these craft right there in town disappeared. Doesn't exist. Hi, you're calling into Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hey, this is Rick for a request.
What took you so long?
I'm actually putting together a little surprise for some folks that contact in the desert.
Oh, totally cool. Totally. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Does it involve food or vodka? That's the question.
Neither.
Okay.
Yeah. I was debating what to bring. I know what a few folks are bringing, so no, I won't be bringing any vodka.
Okay.
The vodka, I'd love to get you is out of my price range. So, the Dan Aykroyd Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
I want a bottle for myself.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And I did notice, I don't know if it was you that posted this, Rick, but is everybody staying at the, what was it, the Motel 6 in 29 Palms?
The Motel 6 in 29 Palms, yeah. So far, that seems to be, it's like me, Walter, Kit, Space Boy. I think there's a couple of others, too.
Well, you got Lou. You've got,
where we're all at.
Right. Okay. I can't wait. I don't know how you got rooms. We ended up, I think we're staying, we have a cabin, some kind of cabin that we're staying at, but in 29 Palms too, which is the size of a postage stamp. So I think we're close to each other. But anyway, I cannot wait, man. I just cannot wait. So fired up about this. And,
in fact, I have, Rita told me that there's a particular, thing that you just absolutely love. So I made an electronic version for you.
Well, you guys, see, this is the thing. This is the thing. I know so little about what all of you guys talk about. I know you guys got your little secret hangout that you guys do. And so I don't know. And I'm just the guy that's on the microphone. I'm the guy that's going to be setting up out there. I know nothing about what you guys have got planned. And now you're telling me that I don't know I have no idea.
There's a great saying: "Fake it until you make it."
Okay.
It's worked for me so far. No, but you remember when I tweeted about the that EVP that I caught?
Yeah.
I made a believe it or not, a dumpster dive laptop. I mean, my job, they're throwing it out, and I'm like, does it work? And they're like, well, yeah, you just need to load Windows on it. Well, okay, fine. So now I have a machine that does nothing but EVP generation.
Oh, awesome.
And that's the picture I posted. I had to have the background be a Ouija board, just out of irony.
Well,
I
did see the pic that you posted, and I wasn't totally 100% clear. Hold on for a second. Lou just posted an email here. I'm going to read it out loud. He says, Jimmy, did you see the claim the records regarding the balloon are lost and destroyed? Yeah. Okay. I was getting to that, Lou. Yes. This whole Westall Elementary School balloon radiation testing thing, it's blowing my mind. It's just totally hilarious. But yeah, Lou, to answer that really quick, yes, I did, and I will get to the bottom of all of this. But back to Contact in the Desert, I did see, or your EVP machine, when you were making those posts, I'm like, what is Rick?
What the heck is he talking about?
Yeah. And then I saw the screen, and I was trying to figure out. But that's what it is. So you've got an EVP recording laptop that is dedicated to only EVPs. Now,
and it has a phonetic generator, kind of like a Ovilus.
Oh, right on.
So what it does is, it'll speak to you. Kind of like in the good old War Games voice.
Yeah. Oh,
I'll show you how it works. But what's funny is the model of the computer. It's a Fujitsu Life book, which I just think is ironic as hell.
Okay, Rick. Before we move on to Bigalow, have you tested it?
Oh yeah.
And
my 13-year-old and I were just playing around with it just to make sure that the phonetics were working correctly. And I was talking to Les about it yesterday on Twitter, and there's a voice that said, "I will help."
No.
It said it a few times. It said, "I will help. I will help you." Yeah, a few things like that. And my son and I were looking at each other like, okay, that's a bit creepy.
That's really creepy. Male voice. Oh no, phonetically. The generator is what's telling you. So, wow, this is cool. So, if it is something that is almost inaudible, the phonetic generator can pick up on the low-level signals that you may or may not be able to hear anyway, but because it's digital, what is there, it is picking it up, and then it is saying it out loud. Am I understanding you correctly?
It's a cross between like an Ovilus and a spirit box. You do have some background noise while it's going because it's going through and randomly sampling through the elephone
frequencies
voice generator.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're getting like it going, but then you'll get a distinct word. The way it works, it can't be duplicated because there is no real way that it could put together a word on its own.
That's messed up, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
That is so messed up.
I wish I'd recorded them. I've had some sessions with that machine that are even more messed up than that. I had one cuss me out.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it.
Oh man, I was talking to it, and it was a trip because I had my dad on the phone, and I said, I have my dad on the phone. Is it okay if he listens in? And it was so funny because it sounded like it did like a resigned sigh, like, okay. And you could tell the inflection. I was just like, wow, what, do I have an angry teenager, coming through here or what?
Wow.
And so grudgingly was okay with my dad listening on the phone because I'm half deaf in my left ear. My dad's half deaf in his right ear. So between the two of us, we have great hearing. And so I had him as a backup, and I also had my wife in the room. So we have 3 independent sources, going through what we're catching. And, it asked me, do you help people or do you try to help people? I said, yeah, I try. And it just goes, F you.
What?
I was like, I'm sorry, could you please repeat that? He goes, F you, and just started repeating F you, but not F you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. And so I said, I'm being PC with something that, technically isn't really there. I said, hey, that's, kind of rude. I'm just trying to have a conversation. You're telling me, F you.
Right.
He goes, I'm sorry.
It said, I'm sorry?
Yeah, it actually apologized, blew my mind. And I was in such shock during all this, it didn't even occur to me to record it because it was just a test run because I just got it set up. I had my dad on the phone and my wife was hanging around. We were like, okay, boys and their toys, let's see what's going on. And we all just got dragged into it.
I am tripping.
To me to record it.
I am so tripping out right now, and I'm looking over at Twitter. Ken Lipson just said, "This sounds awesome," but Allison says, "Okay, not in my house." And
well, that's she's dead on accurate.
Yeah,
that's what. Remember when I said, "Dude, don't ever do it in your house."
Yeah, you don't want to know. You just
bedroom.
Yeah, absolutely. You
yeah.
Wow.
Well, and then I asked, did I know you in life? They said yes. I said, what's your name? And it said my son's name had passed away.
No, stop, Rick, stop.
No, I'm dead serious. And that's when I said, okay, I'm done. Thank you for your time, and killed it. My wife was not exactly happy. I took it off my system.
Wow.
Done.
Wow.
Yeah. That right there was the showstopper for me.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I don't even.
We're on there. I'm just going to flat out say because it's public record. But my son's name is Finian.
What are the odds of that? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not a common name. I mean, you'd have to go over to Ireland to find anybody named Finian.
Yeah. Listen. I know it's a totally sensitive issue, but I just have to ask, how did you feel? I mean, this is your son that has passed away, and you hear something like that. Do you instantly believe? I mean, where? And I know you understand exactly what I'm trying to get at. So. How did you come away from that?
A little bit of a train wreck because, I forgot the guest's name when he said, "Oh, well, it's a magnetic disturbance. That's why you get a hold of people 3 days after."
Exactly.
The other day, I forgot his name, and that's why I kind of called BS.
Barry Taff.
Yeah, and because after my son passed away. He, in his own way, said goodbye and honestly freaked me out because I heard him do his happy to giggle when I was in my bedroom.
Right.
And freaked me out because, I mean, I don't want to sound like a tinfoil hat woo-woo type of person, but I grew up with a lot of stuff like this.
Right.
And just every single hair follicle on my body was a goosebump.
Well,
do
you think your son would have dropped an F-bomb like that?
And see, that's what I was going to say. I don't think it was my kid.
But it was somebody
because
that
I personally, and I hope that he passed on and went on. He passed away when he was 5.5 months old.
Oh.
And he wouldn't have been like that. And, even though his life was very short, he was a very, very happy kid. The only time that he was upset is if he had a dirty diaper or if he was hungry. That was it.
Rita said to bring the Ouija board.
The actual Ouija boards, I have one of those I never touch.
Rita just said, tell Rick to bring the Ouija board. Oh, man, I don't know. See, you guys, I don't know what she's got planned. Now I'm getting nervous. Oh, man.
Well, you know what? Then we definitely have to have vodka.
Oh, that's planned, my brother. Oh, that's planned. You've seen my Facebook page. And
I saw the bottle of Beluga.
You know, it's just, look, around here, we stress out all week long doing the show and all the work that we put into this. You know, it's a 24-hour-a-day gig. But when the weekend comes, we appreciate friends and family. And here, we just believe in friends and family. And keeping them close. And how do I keep them close? Beluga.
Alcohol.
Yeah. but I'm
keep them drunk.
Yeah, well, and I'm being very lighthearted about all of this. It's just I'm a very, 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 very sober guy, except on Sundays. And I bring my family over, and we love to cook. And we love to sit around and talk all night and have fun. And it's all about the ceremony, and it's the truth. Yeah. I've got to unwind. We are stressed out for 6-7 days a week. And it's true. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying, hey, I like my friends. I like my family. And we love to get together. And that's what we do here. We celebrate.
See, what sucks is all my friends are scattered to the four winds.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Believe it or not, I know a lot of people in L.A. I grew up in NorCal, but now it seems like everybody moves to L.A.
Well, again, we've been here for over 30 years, and we are very fortunate that we have all of our family and all of our friends close by, and you can count everything on one or two hands sometimes. But to me, country, family, friends, it's the most important thing. And I will always celebrate that. So, all right, man. We're at the end of the rope. Thank you,
hey,
thank you,
Bigalow.
Rick. So you were the closer tonight, and not less. And I'll see you tomorrow.
We didn't even get to the original reason for the phone call.
You know what? We'll do that tomorrow night, man. We'll do that tomorrow night. Thanks, Rick.
Actually, no. I'm going to be going down the freeway.
Oh, hey. Well, I got to roll credits. So, no Bigalow tomorrow night. We'll do it next week. Oh, no, Friday night. Cool. Friday night. All right. Thanks, Rick.
Hey, man, no problem. Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Rick Sinnott live in Las Vegas. Wow. Went right up against it. Thank you, Rick. And never got to Bigalow. That's what I'm talking about. I just, it's all about friends and family. All right, everybody. Coming up next. Oh, special thanks to Norio Hayakawa. Norio, unbelievable conversation. Stay tuned. Coming up next, Expanding Perspectives with Robert Schock. Wow, Bobby Schock. Coming up next. Special thanks to Keith Rowland and Art Bell. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Palm and Mark D. Kovar. The announcers are Steve Harder and Mark D. Kovar. Music is by Doug Aldrich. Show intro performed by Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Dark Matter Radio Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll see you tomorrow night for Call In Thursday. Good night, everybody. Be safe. See ya.